Hey friends, welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and we've got a Bestech man today. Yes, Bestech's budget brand. I know, you guys have heard about this for a month and a half, 2 months already. I finally got mine. It took a long time for CBSA to process the package where this was sent to me from the United States. But thank you very much. Bestech man, Bestech's budget brand, sent this knife to me, so take that for what it's worth. I'm going to try my best to be completely objective. And of course, nobody's ever completely objective, even if they buy the knife themselves. You know, you buy a knife and you're objective towards not wanting to sound like you are a guy who can't make good purchasing decisions. Honestly, it works that way. Everybody's biased, even if they buy the stuff from their own money. It's just how life works. So I always laugh when people make a big deal about, well, this knife came from the factory, so it must be the very best they've ever made. No, that's not how these companies work. They grab one that came off the production line and they ship it out. And you'll find out what I mean when I do this review. The sharpening on this thing is not done very well at all. Worse than average, but that doesn't mean I'm unhappy with the knife. I'm very happy with the knife, and I'll tell you why. Come on down, let's take a good close look at it together. You may be wondering you did not see an unboxing video for this. Well, this is the kind of box that they come with. You probably saw the unboxing videos by some other people. It's just a straightforward, simple little box with, you know, the knife name on the end there, and a little baggie that it's in. So there you go. Oh yeah, it's a little bit dirty. Yeah, I've had this for about a week, and I've played primarily with this knife so that I can do this video. Let's do our little size comparison. Here's the Ontario Rat 1, and I'll line up those pivot pins a little bit. It's similar. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit smaller this way. It's a little bit thinner. You know, it's a little bit smaller than an Ontario Rat 1, but not by an awful lot. And as usual, we've got a little more cutting edge on the Bestech man than we do on the Rat 1. The Rat 1 just doesn't have an awful lot of cutting edge. D2 steel. All the versions are with D2 steel. There's 7 different versions, I think, of this. There's the main 4 versions, G10, satin finish with black or really, really dark gray flats and fuller. And those are all available easily on Amazon. Now, please use my referral links for Amazon. I got referral links down below. I've got a referral link in the comment for it as well, so that you can get any one of those if you want to right away. Or there are 3 exclusive versions of this knife. There's one with a white G10 finish at White Mountain Knives, and you can save 10% there. Those are all $49.95, the exclusives. 5 cents more than the basic version. So get the exclusives if you can, especially because the other 2 exclusives are micarta. You've got one in North America, Blade HQ, has got a black micarta. I'd really like that. And then they've got this sort of brownish color micarta. It's at knivesandtools.com. Knivesandtools.com is in Europe. And there it's $49.95, but euros. From Amazon, these are $44.90. And like I said, they've got 4 colors. They're all in stock on the moment that I'm recording this. So use those links and go grab yourself one. That equals about $61 Canadian. That Amazon seller is not shipping to Canada though. So yeah, if you want this in Canada, good luck. It's a flipper, so that means if it does get inspected by CBSA, it's probably going to get stopped. And, you know, they don't like flippers. So there's that. I just nicked my thumb while I was playing with it, so there might be a little bit of bleeding every now and then. I'll go put a little Band-Aid on that just because YouTube doesn't like, you know, blood on the screen. So it's not a big cut at all. It's just a tiniest little nick. There were no chums in sight. It was just inevitable. It's all good. Let's briefly go over the rest of this knife here. D2 blade, roughly around 60 Rockwell hardness. Liner lock. We've got inset liners. There's no skeletonizing on these liners, I don't think. Pocket clip, it's got sort of that snake head kind of tip right there. It does point upward, but not very much at all. We'll talk about that later. And we've got a hole on this side, so it can go on the left side as well. There's no spacer in there, but there's a place for it. It's basically a straight handle. Now, check out these lines. ODYSEE design. We got a upswept, or not really upswept, it's a straight angle up, fine jimping over a fair stretch, a little over 1 inch long. Good grip for the thumb in there. I'm really happy with the jimping back there, and there's enough of it, so that's a good thing. And then we've got a long clip point. This is a straight line. You know, it's not a sort of a recurve clip point. It's not a drop point kind of thing. So I'm calling this an extended clip point. And then we've got a fuller that starts right near the end of the blade and goes until this chamfer gets rid of it. So you've got that part there. Can you use that to flick with? Well, sometimes. Let's see if I get it just right. There we go. This is on the left side. I can't get it all the time. Usually I can't, but some people are going to be able to flick that from underneath. I'm just not that good at it. I've never been good at that finger flicking unless it's a nice big size hole, but it works. Flipper tab. It's got jimping across the top of it, roughly at a 45-degree angle. Enough grip there to easily deploy the blade, just pushing off the side, you know, light switch method, whatever you want. It works just fine, and the detent is wonderful. So it's really easy to play with this knife left or right-handed using the flipper. So that's quite good. And it becomes a really big guard here. So it's safe to be piercing with, you know, as long as you grab hold of the handle properly. We've got, you know, a belly here. The swedge comes to a tip, and then we've got the belly here, and then we've got a straight section. It's not super thick. It's actually quite thin behind the grind. That tip is a little bit delicate. Not super delicate, but it's a little bit delicate. The sharpener's choil, it's just barely big enough, but it is big enough, so I'm okay with that. Next thing is the badging. We've got D2 right there, and then it says ODYSEE design right here. It's not a big deal. At least the badging's not super huge. And on this side, Bestechman, again, on the main bevel. There's hardly any room on the flats to do any of that, but maybe they could have put their logo, you know, on the flipper, on the side of the flipper maybe, or somewhere else. At least, like I said, it's not huge billboarding. How well does this blade perform in the cutting tasks? Well, I've done a fair bit of cutting with this knife. The sharpness is quite sharp. It slices and cuts and pierces quite well. No complaints at all. And a lot of that is how thin it is behind the grind, and that's done very well indeed. Onto the handle, like I said, it's fairly straight. We've got, you know, the big chamfers on it, T8 screw here. We've got some T6 screws back here for the pocket clip, and one of those screws, you know, the second one or the one closest to the end, is the the body pin screw back there. And then this pin up here is a lanyard pin. They look pretty much identical, but that's the lanyard pin. The flush screws on the pocket clip being T6, you know, be careful. They are not, they're not super deep. See a little bit of play in those screws, but, you know, they're not terrible, but it's loose enough that I would definitely recommend, you know, getting anti-camo fluid like Drive Grip. If you're new to the channel, you might not have heard this. I'll leave a link to a video up here in the corner for you to learn more about that. So that's that. We've got the nice emblem here for Bestechman. It looks like a T, or if you look at it this way, then hey, that's a B. Blade alignment, pretty much right down the middle. Very happy with that. Lockup spot, it's exactly where I like a brand new knife to be. There's room for it to wear over, but it's fully engaged. The lock release, you know, we don't have a big round cutaway. ODYSEE likes to do these sort of elongated little notches. Chamfer on the lock bar release. Like I showed you before, it's very easy to disengage this lock. The detent on it is very good. I'm very happy with it. And let's just see if we can demonstrate a bit of it, or I can. There you go. It's not a super hard detent, but it's a good detent. I'm happy. Blade play side to side. Nope. Up and down. Nope. It's nice. It's a well-made knife. Balance point. It's right there. Well, let's turn it over this way. Right there. Yes, I'd prefer if it was closer to, the pivot pin. A little bit of skeletonizing on these liners would have remedied that. But then, of course, that adds a little bit to the cost because the cost of manufacturing. The cost of manufacturing is the main component on the price of a knife. It's not the materials. It's working the materials that cost so much. Let's see if this pocket clip works well. Let's demonstrate that. That climbs over, but just barely. There have been a couple times where I've just dropped it in my pocket. I would maybe bend this up just a little bit more, but it works. Goes to the full depth, hides in there. Very well done. So it's not a super deep carry, but it's nice. So no big complaints with the pocket clip either. Let's take this thing apart. We've got these very small ceramic ball bearings, the black ones in a phosphor bronze cage. So those are okay. No skeletonizing, but the liners aren't full size. That helps with the weight a little bit. And, very simple construction. Very simple indeed. Stop pin is captured on the blade, but it's closed at the front, which I really like. I don't like, it being open at the front where that space is cut away on the G10 for the stop pin to travel. So, yeah, that's quite nice. I'm very happy with this. There's no big problems. Very simple construction, and that really does help them keep the price down. So, it's also easy to maintain because of that. So let's tighten that screw down. And we'll tighten this screw down as well. And that's all that it takes to make it functional again. Let's begin with the weight. 91 grams, 3.21 ounces. So hey, it's not heavy at all for a full-size knife, basically. The sharpness from the factory, 165 best, just a slight bit less sharp than average, so not a problem at all. The cutting edge length between my thumbnails, 89.2 millimeters, 3.51 inches. Blade length, between my thumbs, 86.9 millimeters, 3.42 inches. Thickness of the blade stock, over here at the thickest part of the blade, 3.12 millimeters, that's 0.123 of an inch, so the tiniest bit under 1/8 of an inch, but very close to 1/8 of an inch. The blade depth, its biggest right between my fingers right there, 23.3 millimeters, 0.917 of an inch. How thick is it behind the grind? Measured in 3 places. The average thickness is 0.41 millimeters, 16/1000ths of an inch right behind that sharpened edge. I like it. I like that an awful lot because it's so thin, it's very easy to fix these grind angle issues, which are, this side's got an average angle of 16.5 degrees. This side's got an average angle of 23.8 degrees. Thankfully, I can fix it. D2 is not all that hard to sharpen. I know there's a lot of myths out there. Some people say D2 is impossible to sharpen. Well, no, not if you've got decent sharpening equipment. Length of the knife here, 117.7 millimeters, 4.63 inches. The grip area, it's roughly 9.5 centimeters or 3 3/4 inches. So yeah, a full-size knife. My hands are in the extra large range, and I got a full grip on this thing. The thickness of the handle on the surface of the flat part of the G10 right here, 11.9 millimeters, which is 0.47 of an inch, so don't mind that. The handle depth, it's actually a bit wider here than it's here. It's coming down on an angle, so that's the widest point, 23.1 millimeters, 0.911 inches. When the knife is closed, going into your pocket, the widest point's right here at the flipper, 29.6 millimeters, 1.16 inches. And the total length of this is 207 millimeters, which is, I forgot to do the conversions on here. 207 millimeters is 8.15 inches. 8.15 inches, not bad at all. There's your measurements. I'm quite happy with them. What do I think of this thing? I want to get one of the micarta versions. I really, really do want to get one of the micarta versions. Or at least, you know, the White Mountain Knives white one, so I can dye it a special color so that it's my very own. But, you know, this black and satin finish is really nice. I'm very happy with it. Mechanically, yeah, it's a Bestech. It just is. The quality of everything in here, it's good. Is it great? No. Those ball bearings are pretty tiny. I'd prefer one slightly bigger. But it's nice, it's dialed in, it's got a good detent, the action works, lockup is solid, you know, the grip is comfortable, the design, Ostap Hell design, you know, he's a world-class knife designer. Yeah, would I like a little plate that goes in here? Sure, I would really like a little plate that goes in here. Ganzo does that on knives that cost less, but the quality of this, I think, is a little bit past what a Ganzo is, so yeah, I'm happy with it. It's nice and light. It's got those beautiful lines. It's got a little bit, you know, special stuff with, you know, their logo on here. So I really would like them to make their badging a little more discreet and, you know, maybe not right on the main bevels, but hey, that's not bad. And if they had one of these in a complete blackwash blade, I'd like that. Pocket clip, yeah. Bend that up just a little bit. Just be very careful when you bend that tip up just a little bit. But it's quite nice. It's quite nice indeed. I'm happy with this thing. Especially, you know, the jimping here. Usefulness. The knife is good. It's a good knife. If you're looking for a nice user, check out the Bestechman DUNDEE. I want to see what Bestechman is coming out next. I'm sure they got something right on the pike right now. Just about coming down any day, any minute. Maybe it is dropped already. I don't know. But I'm going to be reviewing more Bestechman products. I just will. I just have to. Because I'm happy. I'm very happy with this. Thank you very much to my financial supporters. Those of you who send me money every month to keep the channel going. I appreciate it very much. Yes, it is free to upload videos. But there's a lot of expenses in making videos. And so I thank you for your help. And pretty soon is the next knife giveaway for my supporters. If you're new to the channel and haven't heard this little spiel, my monthly supporters, there's, you know, in the low 50s of them right now. Every single month, one of them wins one of the knives that I reviewed in the previous month. All they do is help me pay for the shipping to get it to them. I also give them some extra prizes in there as well. And they also get first dibs on all knife sales. So I sell most of the knives that I review because I simply can't afford to buy loads and loads of knives. In this case, this one was given to me, but, you know, way over 90% of the knives I review, I have to buy them. And so I have to end up selling them so that I can buy some more. I live on a disability pension, so money's tight, so your help is very much appreciated. If you don't want the commitment of a monthly support, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cuttingedge and give me a one-time donation to help out the channel. If you appreciate the level of the reviews that I do, the technical details that I give you, and that information, if that's good for you, there you go. Remember, I read every single comment. I respond to 99.5% of the comments, and I try to be here for you. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Oops.